All right, guys, what's up? Logic Over Emotion here, and today we're going to be talking about the stimulus packages that could be passed. We have one for the Democrats and one for the Republican. Of course, they're Republicans. Of course, there are certain things that they can't decide on, and there are some things that they have both agreed on. And so we're going to go through how expensive it's going to be and all of that good stuff. So let's get into it. All right, so if you see me glancing off to, I guess the left here or my right, don't worry about that. I just have some data here. I want to make sure to provide you the correct numbers for these plans, and so you can get the most accurate information. Okay, so to start with the plan cost, the Democrats' stimulus package is going to cost $3 trillion, whereas the Republicans would be $1 trillion. Now, the HEROES Act, which is the current one sent over by the Democrats, had been voted on back in, I believe, May. So they've kind of had this together for a while now, and now the Republicans are being forced to get out theirs pretty quickly because as of July 31st, just a few days from now, a lot of that stimulus, unemployment, insurance, and all that's going to be ending. And there's also something else we're going to talk about toward the end of the video that's going to be pretty bad. Something that I've not noticed through reading some of these articles regarding the stimulus packages, but something that I think we do need to talk about. Okay. So again, the Dems is called the HEROES Act. I didn't actually see a plan for the Republican or a plan name, so we'll just call it the Republicans package. Let's go through what both of them want. We'll start there on what they actually agree on. So they both want another round of stimulus checks. Now, how that's going to be done, the Democrats, they want the same thing, right? I believe they want to send out another $1,200 stimulus check, basically to everybody, based on the same $75,000 to like $99,000 for salary. However, they now want to take the $500 up per qualifying child to $1,200. So we have an increase there where you would get quite a bit of money for having some dependents. The Republicans, however, they want to drop the threshold for receiving the stimulus check to $40,000. Now, I think that's kind of questionable. I mean, I don't know why you'd have to make less than 40 to qualify for that, but that kind of sounded off to me and didn't make much sense. So I do think they'll end up meeting somewhere in the middle, and there's more talk about that actually, because they wanted to lower the threshold to 40,000, but they also wanted to make it where you just received 70% of whatever you were making, and you would have that 70%, and then they put in place like a $200 per week on top of unemployment benefits until they figured out how they were going to address the specific unique numbers that each person would be getting, because of course at the state and local levels this will be very hard to implement versus a simple $600 a week for everybody. Now, how do I look at this? I think this is kind of a good thing because we know that people have been making the argument that, hey, people aren't going back to work because they're getting paid more to sit at home, and that's kind of a good point. Not only that, but also what it doesn't take into account are people who are extremely high earners, or if you were at that threshold where you could get it, but you were at the higher end, then your salary wasn't even being close to being replaced. So that's something I think is going to actually help there. And then they both want more funding for schools. Now this is broken up in a little differently because the Republicans are looking to allocate a lot less to schools. They were looking at $105 billion, and the Trump administration basically said that how we fund the schools is going to depend on kind of an area by area type situation. It really depends on, can these schools open, and so they're taking a more granular approach, whereas the House Democrats have previously proposed $100 billion. The Senate Democrats have introduced a $430 billion package, which also provides funding for daycares, the schools, and higher education institutions. So that's where a big portion of their package comes into play that makes it so much more expensive. And so, of course, both also want funding for the coronavirus vaccine development, testing, and treatment. They're in the existing stimulus package. There was money set aside for that. They really didn't get into specifics on how much. but it is something that they want in the package. So now they also both want more loans for small business. Again, this is one of the things that they didn't really go into detail about, but they both basically said, hey, the money that we set aside last time just kind of wasn't enough. It went really quickly. And so I think they're going to be looking at doing a bit more with that. So let's see. Let's see what else we have here. I think that pretty much covers the majority of it. Now, one thing that I wanted to talk about that, like I said, through the articles, I really haven't read anything about, even though we know this is coming to an end, the eviction relief or whatever you want to call it, right? So the law that basically said that landlords could not evict tenants during this time actually ended, I believe it was July 25th. So at this point, everybody who is behind on payments can be evicted. Now, the problem I have with this is, what good did the delay do? I mean, I guess you gave people more time, but with the current situation, if that's not extended, people just get kicked out. So I don't know if they plan on doing more for landlords and keeping people in place, but I think that could be a real problem. So we need to actually watch that because we could see a wave of evictions coming, and that wouldn't be a good thing at all with the second round of closures that we're seeing with them trying to mandate masks and all of that. And I just want to add in a tidbit for some of you who may not be aware of this. We know that everywhere in the country right now, they are going to this mask requirement. Just be aware that that is only a requirement, and them asking you to do it, most places will still serve you, mainly because they want to avoid lawsuits. And say you were going to Walmart for some reason and you weren't wearing a mask. If they actually wear one, you could simply say, no, I have a medical condition. If they were to press you any further, those are terms on which you could sue. And Walmart actually, after they received a lot of backlash over the weekend about going to requiring masks at all their stores, they kind of walked it back and said, no, we will still serve you if you refuse to wear a mask, but we're asking everyone to wear one. So guys, if you have an issue wearing a mask and you don't want to wear a mask, feel free not to. That is your choice, and understand that they will still serve you. You may get some ugly looks from some people, but it is what it is. I just wanted to put that tidbit out there. But that's it for this stimulus package update. As I get more information on these, I will definitely get them uploaded and get them out to you. It's something I'll be watching really, really closely because I think it is very important. And being in that interim area where we have one expiring and we're waiting for one to take effect, it's going to be very important to watch how the economy fluctuates and what actually happens. So we'll be sure to try to release these updates rather consistently so that you can stay in the know. All right, well, that's going to be it for this video. As always, guys, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share the video, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. All right, you guys, take care. Signing out.